So another top tip I definitely recommend you have a look at is going to be to try and avoid payday loans if you possibly can. So payday loans really, for a lender which is trying to borrow some region of, whatever it is, 100, 200, 300,000 pounds, for example, they'll want to make sure that you can afford that money, and they want to look at your kind of past credit history. They want to have a look at your past spending behaviour. Now, a payday loan can stay on your credit file for as long as 6 years. So it means even if something happened going back 5 years ago, having a payday loan could basically mean that you've struggled in the past to maybe even get to the end of the month to pay, for example, you've had to borrow maybe 150 or 200 pounds, for example. Lender's going to look at that and say, well, actually, if that, well, rightly or wrongly so, if that client can't get through to the end of the month without managing their money, and they've had to take an APR, they used to be as high as sometimes as much as 3,000%, because you're borrowing an amount of money for only a short couple of days. So, even borrowing £100 and paying back £5 will mean that your interest rate will be absolutely horrific for that period of time. And when a lender looks at that, they say, is this person the person we want to maybe lend 150 or 200,000 pounds to? And in some instances, some of those will say, well, actually, if you've had a payday loan, we can see it in the last 6 years. We just don't want you as a client. Some lenders will want to look back as far as 3 years. Some lenders are happy to maybe do it after a year or so. So it really will just depend on kind of lender to lender. You might find that the cheaper high street banks will maybe veer away from those who've used payday loans in the past, whereas maybe some specialists were more than happy to look at it after maybe a year or so. But definitely, if you've had a payday loan in the last year, it would be relatively tricky, not impossible, but relatively tricky to look at getting you a mortgage for a substantial amount of money.